Good morning. Is this on? Yeah. Okay. I'll speak loud. Good morning and welcome. My name is Kathy Vega. I'm our church's moderator, and I call this preliminary budget meeting to order. Catherine, would you mind leading us in prayer?
Gracious God, just as you blessed our time of worship, bless now our time of work. In the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you all for taking the time today out of your Sunday to attend this important meeting that addresses the ongoing business of our church. We also want to take a minute to appreciate your generosity to date with respect to your financial pledges and gifts. Without these, our church would not be able to fulfill its promise to each other, to the community, to the world. So we very much appreciate your thoughtfulness at this time. So we are voting today to approve the preliminary budget for the 2024 year. A quorum will be determined by the number of members present in the sanctuary this morning at the 8:45 service, and today in the sanctuary during this service, as well as our online viewers. Hello, online viewers. Ricky, if you could move to the slide with the voting options really quick, which I think is the last slide. There we go. And a big thank you to Ricky Harbeck for all of the tech support. We cannot thank him enough. So every chance I get, I'm going to stand up here and say thank you to Ricky. So thank you very much, Ricky, for everything. If you are here in person, we ask you to vote live, which means yay or nay on the preliminary budget. If you are watching online, you have 3 voting options: texting Beth Tracy at the number listed there, emailing Beth at beth@wscongo.org, or voting via our YouTube channel in the chat box. So if you are choosing to vote in the chat box, if you could just leave your name and yes or no, that would be great. And if you have any questions about this process or any of the discussion that's going to happen today, please feel free to text Beth at that number, and she will make sure we address any questions during the meeting. So final vote results will be in the Wednesday email, because we voted this morning at 8:45 and then again here at 10. We'll take all of those votes and send out a communication on Wednesday. And then one more thing, and then I'm going to sit down and stop talking. Before I turn the meeting over to Jim Meyernick, our finance chair, I just wanted to take a minute to express just my deep appreciation to Jim and to Bev Fleming and to Nancy O'Brien and Rich Kircher and Beth Tracy for all the work that they've done on this presentation and the time and thought that went into creating it. And also a big thanks to the Finance Committee, who as a whole has worked tirelessly to manage our finances and keep our cherished church moving forward. So it takes a lot of hands to do this work, and I think I speak for everyone to say we are grateful for the work that you all are doing and continue to do and will continue to do. So with that, I will invite Jim, our Chair of Finance, to present the 2024 preliminary budget.
Good morning. Thank you, Kathy. Let's see here. Hey, look, on behalf of the Finance Committee, thank you to everyone who's here in person or online to review and vote on our 2024 preliminary budget. As Kathy said, we are now moving on to the financial presentation, and we're going to cover year-to-date 2023, and we'll discuss the 2024 preliminary budget. Ricky, can we show the current finance governance structure? So as you're seeing here, this is the current members of the Finance Committee, as well as the staff with whom your Finance Committee works with on a regular basis. Please know that considerable energy is devoted to the financial governance of our church. We hope that you'll reach out to any of us with your finance questions or comments. And we can go on to our next slide. So as you can see here, we're expected to be below target in terms of income, as 2023 pledging didn't come in as originally budgeted. Thankfully, our church leadership and staff have been prudent with spending and expect to continue to be prudent with spending through the remainder of 2023, such that we still expect to achieve either a balanced budget or come in with a slight deficit. But we can now shift to the preliminary budget of 2024. It's worth sharing a bit about the budgeting process here at First Congo. The preliminary budget reflects the dreams and visions of each individual committee and budgetary area, and most often this results in a deficit. Between now and the end of the year, we collaborate to present the congregation with a balanced budget in January. And can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. This slide presents a narrative and hopefully educational view of our income. The overall amount of preliminary budgeted 2024 income is a modest 2.3% increase from budgeted 2023 income. Individual giving, shown in blue, determined primarily through annual pledge commitments, is projected to comprise 85% of preliminary 2024 income, and this is consistent with budgeted 23. Contributions, of which the endowment continues to be the most significant component, is projected to be 11% of preliminary 2024 income, which is consistent with budgeted 2023. Church rental and interest income is projected to be roughly the same, 4%, as compared to 2023. And can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. This slide provides, again, a narrative and hopefully educational view of our expenses. The percentages you see here are consistent with the 2023 budget. Overall preliminary budget can be summed up as follows. Total prelim 24 expense versus budgeted 23 expense is a 5.5% increase. And again, this is consistent with preliminary aspirational budgets in the past. We will, again, work with the functional areas and leaders to find savings and different courses of action in 24 to achieve that balanced budget. And while this is my second time as your finance chair, I am consistently amazed at the hard work of our church to meet the needs of many while being faithful stewards of our resources. We're blessed because of the tireless work of our clergy, staff, lay leaders, and committee members. So now let's review the 2024 budget in some greater detail so you can see how the numbers come together. Can we get the next? Thank you so much. Income of $1.52 million is shown as a 2.3% increase from proposed in 2023. However, as previously mentioned, we're projecting to be $25,000 short of our budgeted 23. So as a result, that lower base of $1.46 million is then a 4% increase for 2024. Stewardship is the largest component of income at $1.28 million. And thank you to everyone who has submitted your pledge. If you haven't done so yet, there is no time like the present. More on that in a moment. We're extremely grateful to the ongoing and meaningful contributions from the Endowment Fund, the Preschool and Women's Society, go Rummage. We are budgeting for an improvement in both plate collections and interest income, primarily due to healthy church attendance in the high interest rate environment. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. Expenses of $1.57 million are included in the preliminary budget. This represents an increase of about $82,000, which is 5.5% over last year's budget. Our three largest expense categories continue to be the same as in prior years: compensation for our outstanding clergy and staff, mission and outreach in support of our many mission partners, and properties, followed by insurance to maintain our beautiful campus and protect us from catastrophic loss. These categories, inclusive of insurance, represent approximately 96% of our total expenses. And can we move to the next slide, please? So as you can see here, the income and expense totals that I just reviewed result in a preliminary budget deficit, which is consistent with our process. As I've stated, we present this to you now, and we will work tirelessly to show you a balanced budget when we get to it in January. But again, at this time, we think it's appropriate and it's transparent to show you that with a supportive increase in income, these are the kinds of expenses at an aspirational level that each of your ministries and committees have presented thus far for 2024. So thank you for your attention. Can we move to the next slide? So just wanted to provide you with a little bit of a perspective, this year on our pledge history. So before we open the floor to questions on the preliminary budget, I want to call your attention to some additional information. As we look back over the past 10 years, the simple message here is that our pledge history has not kept up with inflation. The average household increase in pledging has been 1.5%. Inflation during this same period, however, has averaged 2.6% annually. Ricky, can we move to the next slide, please? So thank you for staying with me so far. You may be asking yourself, well, what does this mean for our church? Well, each year, nearly half of our pledges are unchanged. And when a pledge is held constant over time, yet the prices of goods and services increase, primarily due to inflation, the purchasing power or worth of that pledge is diminished. In short, a pledge 10 years ago doesn't impact our church in the same way. In fact, for example, as the slide shows, a $1,000 pledge, unchanged over 10 years, only supports $750 of the 2024 budget. And so, as we hope you noted, there have been several church communications that have asked our members and friends to prayerfully discern how you can increase your pledging for 2024 by 5 to 10%. Our objective in sharing some of these additional views and perspectives on pledging is to provide you with the context behind that messaging. And we are grateful for those of you, again, who have already submitted your 2024 pledge. But as we've also communicated, should you wish to amend your pledge in light of this additional information, it's a very simple process that our fantastic business manager, Nancy O'Brien, is readily able to help you with and only takes a few moments of your time. So again, thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to open the floor to questions. How can I help? I got off easy in the first meeting. I only got one question, so. And that's not that I'm expecting to get off easy here. I'm asking. I'm asking for questions. Murray.
Thanks, everybody, for your work on this. Just a curiosity question. Why was there such a dip on the insurance from 2022 to 2023 and then seeing it creep back up?
Yeah, excellent. So in 2022 to 2023, we thankfully found another insurance organization with whom to work. So that was, we selected a different insurer, said differently. Thankfully, they're just as equally well rated as I think of like an AM Best, type rating, so an equally reputable insurer. But yes, you are seeing, now we've seen an increase in 2024 as we look for that budget. That is consistent generally with what I think all of us are seeing, both personal and business, as it relates to just increases in insurance rates. It's not necessarily because our church is being reviewed or being viewed as having greater risk than it did the year before, and it is a matter that we are currently seeking additional information from our broker about. But that's the best information that we have right now. Okay, well, oh, hey, we got one in the back. Thank you.
Making me work for it.
Thank you. My question is about the endowment fund, and is the contribution that we are seeing eating into any principal in that fund at this point? And do we have an idea of what the balance of the endowment is?
Excellent question, thank you. Yeah, if you all will recall, if you look at the trend, right, 153,000 in 2022, and then we dipped in 23 and took only 125,000 from the endowment. And that was, as if you recall from our discussion last year, that was stock market, and the market has not significantly changed or rebounded since then. We take out 5% of the endowment balance every year, as measured at 12/31, right at the end of the calendar year. So that's how we determine what we're going to be able to take in the subsequent year. So that's kind of the change there. I think I answered the question. What did I miss? I missed the part, didn't I?
Principal.
The principal, yes. We are not taking any principal out. Yes, we considered having to do that last year for actual 2023, and that was determined to be unnecessary. So principal was untouched. So we're only continuing to take out of earnings. Thank you. Good questions. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please.
I have a comment, more than a question, so you can relax. But a number of years ago at another church, when we were involved in the stewardship campaign, the financial stewardship campaign, the day of the Promise Sunday, Alan got up and said, I would like you all sitting in the pew to consider increasing your pledge by $100. And a number of people did. And clearly, if everybody here today increased their pledge by $100, $2 a week, we would more than make up for any deficit and have lots of extra.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate that very much. Okay. Well, wonderful. Well, again, I'm Jim Meyernick. You know how to reach me and any member of the Finance Committee. We'd be happy to speak with you in private on a one-on-one basis if there's anything you didn't feel comfortable raising in person. And I would like to ask Kathy to come back up. Thank you very much. I have Nancy on my mind. I would like Kathy to come back up and bring us to close. Thank you.
Kind of adjust the microphone for the short people. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Susan. That's an excellent point. I was reviewing our pledge. I'm like, that's like one Chipotle order that we had less. It's good to have the context, and it's good to put it in perspective. So thank you for all the work on that. So we had a motion and a second at the earlier meeting, and we just recessed the earlier meeting, so we do not need a motion and a second for this meeting. We just can move on to voting, and Ricky's already done it. So if you are online, if you could text in your vote or email your vote or use the chat feature. And for those of you sitting in the pews, all in favor of passing the preliminary 2024 budget, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Okay. Once again, we will share the results of today's votes in the Wednesday email. We'll collect the 10 o'clock and the 8:45 service. The preliminary budget. Actually, now I have to take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Sorry, this is my first time going through this, so I'll get it down to a science here soon, just in time for me to stop doing this. Anyway, so do I have a motion to adjourn the preliminary budget meeting? Thank you. And a second? Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Thank you very much for being here. The meeting is now closed. Please go get some coffee.